It's like a little gremlin.
Genocide police! Genocide police!
A number that has sent shockwaves through British politics. Over 38,000. That is how many offenders have been released early under the government's SDS-40 scheme since September 2024, according to official Ministry of Justice figures. The policy allows certain prisoners to be released after serving just 40% of their sentence, instead of 50%, and it has ignited one of the most heated debates Britain has seen in years.
We start with this morning's breaking news. The government has confirmed that it's activated an emergency plan to avoid overcrowding in jails. Operation Early Dawn is a long-standing but very rarely used contingency plan.
The government says SDS-40 was an emergency measure to tackle a prison's overcrowding crisis. Serious violent offenses and sex offenses are automatically excluded from the scheme. But critics argue that the external support systems needed to make this work safely simply are not in place. Without strong housing, mental health, and rehabilitation support, there are genuine fears that prison leavers are being set up to fail and that public safety is being put at risk. Those fears exploded onto the streets in the summer of 2024. From 30 July to 5 August, far-right anti-immigration protests and riots swept across England and Northern Ireland. The violence began following a deadly stabbing at a children's dance class in Southport, where 3 young girls, B.B. King, age 6, Elsie Stancombe, age 7, and Alice De Silva Aguiar, age 9, were killed and 10 more were injured. Within 2 hours of the attack, a social media post falsely claimed the attacker was an asylum seeker or Muslim immigrant. The suspect was later confirmed to be a British citizen born in Cardiff with no known links to Islam. But the misinformation had already spread, and Britain was about to burn. An estimated 29 anti-immigration demonstrations and riots took place across 27 towns and cities. Many were violent, with participants attacking mosques and hotels housing asylum seekers. More than 300 police officers were injured. By the following month, 1,280 arrests and nearly 800 charges had been made. Critics and protest groups allege a 2-tier policing system was operating during the unrest, a claim that policing authorities have denied. Assertions that police deliberately favored minorities and were harsher on right-wing protesters are described by analysts as an assertion for which there is no evidence. But the perception alone was enough to fuel further rage on the streets. Meanwhile, the broader immigration debate is not going away. Critics of the government allege that asylum seekers are being housed in hotels at enormous taxpayer expense, while British veterans and pensioners struggle. Supporters of the policy argue it is a legal obligation and a humanitarian necessity. What is not in dispute is that public anger over the cost and management of the asylum system is real and growing. Opposition leader Nigel Farage has alleged that the government is failing to protect communities from rising violent crime. He has called for tougher border enforcement and a renegotiation of human rights frameworks that he claims prevent deportations. Farage and Reform UK allege the current system prioritizes the rights of foreign nationals over the safety of British citizens, a claim the government strongly rejects. What is verified is this: despite the mass releases under SDS-40, the prison system remains at crisis point, with over 88,000 of 89,000 spaces currently in use. Critics are rightly concerned that the external infrastructure to deliver rehabilitative support is not in place, and without it, the likelihood of reoffending increases. The government insists this is a managed temporary measure with a review built in. The opposition calls it a catastrophic gamble with public safety. And on the streets of Britain, ordinary people are caught in the middle, watching the debate play out in real time in their own neighborhoods. The question is no longer whether the system is under pressure. It clearly is. The question is who pays the price.